Hey class, welcome to week 4 of BUAD 301. This week is another online class, and during this week we're going to look into chapters 8 and 10. In addition, we're going to go over the performance review assignment you're going to have to complete, which is going to be due at the end of week 5. So you'll actually have 2 weeks to complete this. And then also you're going to be able to see which group you are in for the term for your group project. And keep in mind, you're going to sit with your group during our next live class session, which is going to be during week 5. So this week, make sure to watch the weekly class video lecture below. I also want you to practice writing a case analysis for the Starbucks case. This is going to help you for our first in-class writing assignment during week 5. See the Starbucks case analysis practice folder under the files attachments for this week below. So if you scroll down here, you're going to go ahead and see the Starbucks case analysis practice folder. Go ahead and click on this, and you're going to see two documents here. You're going to see a prompt and an actual case analysis. So if you click on the prompt and you open the prompt, this is going to give you an idea of what your Chick-fil-A in-class writing assignment is going to look like during week 5. So go ahead and open up this prompt. Let's try again. There it is. So when you open up this prompt, this is going to kind of give you an idea of what your prompt is going to look like for your Chick-fil-A case study assignment as well. Oops, it opened up 2 copies by accident. Let's go ahead and close one out. So this is practice only. Do not turn this in. This does not count towards your grade. This is really just practice. So after you read the Starbucks case from your case analysis book, from your case book, you're going to complete this task. Again, you don't have to complete this. This is just practice to help prepare you for your in-class writing assignment for Chick-fil-A. So read the assigned case from the casebook and address the following 5 steps. So step 1, remember, identify a core problem. So what I want to do here, we'll go ahead and open these 2 documents up together. This is an actual case analysis response, which is what yours will look like as well. So let's go ahead and open both of these documents together, and we'll put them side by side just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm going to be looking for. So this is what your case analysis will look like. So step 1, identify a core problem and describe it in the case. Remember, this is your problem statement. We spoke about this and how it needs to be written. Step 2 of the 5-step case analysis, explain why this important is issue using evidence from the case and basic logic. So this is the objective portion. Step 3, you're going to provide the 2 different solutions that will address the problem. Here's solution 1, and here's another solution 2. Now remember, these are just examples. It does not mean these 2 solutions are the only correct ones. You could come up with your own 2 solutions for this practice case analysis on Starbucks. Step 4 of the case analysis method, after reviewing the 2 solutions you discussed, please recommend the one you believe will be the best to achieve your objective. So this is the recommended solution. And then step 5 are the action steps. This is the action steps you take. So here, this is the situation and what you need to do for your task for this case analysis assignment. And then what you would do is you would complete a case analysis just like this for the Starbucks case. So remember, this is just practice. This is not anything you need to turn in. You can go ahead and read through this prompt, and then you could create your own case analysis, which is this right here. The one I uploaded is an example. It doesn't necessarily mean it is the only right solutions to provide or the right objective or the right action steps, but this is one just for an example. So that way it can kind of give you an idea of what I'm going to be looking for. Again, this assignment is worth 0 points. It is intended for practice only. You do not need to turn this in. This is practice only. So go ahead and practice this. That way it can help prepare you for our first in-class writing assignment, which will be next week during week 5. So let's go ahead and scroll up to the syllabus and take a look at it. We'll go down to this week and next week. So this week, this is what we're doing. Remember, your memo city selection is going to be due at the end of this week. And then you have next week, week 5, which is right here. This is where we're going to be writing our case analysis 1 on Chick-fil-A case. So it's important to make sure you come to class having read the Chick-fil-A case. So we'll scroll down here back to week 4. And you'll see right here for your second part of items to complete before week 5, read and familiarize yourself with the Chick-fil-A case in your casebook. This is mandatory because you will write your first in-class assignment when we meet live during week 5 about this case. Make sure you can access your casebook during week 5. You can use your casebook during the writing assignment that we complete in class. So please make sure to bring in your digital PDF, have a copy available to you, whether it's in your email or a USB drive you can download, but it is important that you're able to access the Chick-fil-A case during next week's class. But please come in prepared having read it, because when you get your prompt, you're only going to have an hour to complete your in-class assignment. So that way, when you start writing your in-class assignment, you already know what the case is about and have a good understanding. So let's go up to another task. So make sure to read chapter 8 and 10 in the book of this week, and look at the chapter 8 and 10 PowerPoints under the files and attachments for this week. So here's chapter 8 and 10. Make sure to review these as well too. And I would really, I highly recommend reading the chapters before reviewing the PowerPoints. And then in the Business Writer's Handbook, go ahead and read International Correspondence section in the Business Writer's Handbook. So another assignment you're going to have to complete is the performance appraisal. And I have 2 items down here, which is the performance appraisal and the performance review. So what I'd like to do is take a look at this performance review assignment first. So once you click on it, you're going to see the information here. Complete the attached performance review document and upload the completed memo here by Friday, February 23rd, 11:55 p.m. You can use the items in the performance appraisal folder to help you. No late papers will be accepted. Please let me know if you have any questions. So once you click on this document, we'll go ahead and open it. So the purpose of this performance evaluation is for you to write a clear, well-constructed annual performance evaluation of an employee, providing enough information to determine whether your direct report should receive a raise and how much, and what goals he should strive for in the future. So you're going to be looking at someone's performance, and this person is someone who reports directly to you. That is why we call them a direct report. So this is someone who works under you and they report directly to you. Now your objective in this process is to gain experience determining appropriate details to include when evaluating an employee's performance, to practice writing for multiple audiences in a sensitive and constructive way. So the thing is with a performance review is that your direct report is going to be looking at what you said about him or her. In addition, other people like your boss and the human resources department are also going to be looking at your direct report. So this is why it's important to make sure that you understand you need to write this in a sensitive and constructive way, because you have multiple audiences who are going to be reading this. You have your direct report, he or she will be reading this. The HR department will be reading this, and in addition, most likely your boss is going to be reading this in order to approve the performance evaluation on your recommendation. So that's why you need to write in a sensitive and constructive way, to make sure that if you do support this person and you feel they do deserve a raise, why? Make sure you provide evidence about this. And if you feel that they don't deserve a raise, why as well? And make sure you provide evidence about this, because your direct report is going to be reading this. So let's take a look at the situation. So the situation, your direct report, John Smith, an outside sales representative, working for a consumer packaged goods company, completed his first year with the company in December. It is now time for you to do his annual evaluation to determine whether he should get a raise and how much he should receive. Please bear in mind a 5% raise is considered good. You may go up or down with a raise from this point. So that's one of your tasks for this project, is that you need to determine whether or not this person should receive a raise, and if so, how much. And this is the information that you're going to be able to provide, to determine if he deserves a raise. So you are provided with the following information from John Smith's personal file. So the first bullet point: John did not make his goal until his third month with the company, and since then he has made the next 9 monthly sales quota. So he's completed 9 out of 12 monthly sales quota. So it's important to keep in mind that he didn't meet his goals until the third month. And so the first 2 months were a little bit difficult. Why? Maybe because it was his first time working at this company. He was kind of trying to maybe really, learn a little bit more about the company and the clients and whatnot. So it took him a couple months to get started. Second bullet point: John missed the team meeting on January 30th due to new employee orientation he had to attend. So keep that in mind. It was an employee orientation, which I'm sure was mandatory, but he did miss a meeting. So how would you mark that? John had the highest placement of new SKUs for his district compared to his peers. So he had the highest placement of his new SKUs, which is excellent. On November 18th, John was expecting a large order to be delivered to one of his accounts for a special weekend promotion. Unfortunately, the truck broke down, and John went and placed the product in his company car and made 3 special trips for his customer to ensure the product was at the event. This took John nearly 10 hours of driving, and he was finished by 2 a.m. due to the distance he had to drive. Next bullet point: John's line manager received a phone call that he had been late to a high-profile planning meeting from one of their highest volume customers. So you can see the majority of the things John has done have been really exceptional, but he was late to a high-profile planning meeting. So to assist you to avoid just rehashing the case facts from above, please ask yourself the following questions and write about these answers. How did John's contributions affect the organization he works for? How did John's actions have an impact on other people? What skill sets might John be good at based on what he did? So your writing task: put yourself in the position of being John's line manager. So he is your direct report. Write John's annual evaluation for the period October 2014 to October 2015, indicating whether he should receive a raise or not, how much he deserves, what his rating is, and what areas you believe he should work on in the future. So what you're going to do is write a memo, and you're going to address it to Dr. L. Bobby Papulias. You may use titles and headings, but remember, in the first paragraph of a memo, you do not need a heading. Just a suggestion: you could include a paragraph each for John's strengths, challenges, and overall performance, and then using the rating definitions PowerPoint slides, decide which rating Barry should receive. Do not lift phrases from the case or the sheet. That is plagiarism and will result in severe penalties. Remember, keep the evaluation to 1 page only, and make sure you spell check. Use good business thinking before you print your final copy. Do not say anything that can result in a libel or slander lawsuit. Your writing language needs to align with the rating you are issuing to John. I will be looking for the strategy and format discussed in class, and we'll use a class rubric to determine your grade. Again, this assignment is worth 50 points. So what I'd like to do now is I want to take a look at that actual folder that will help provide the documentation you need for this assignment. So you're going to see the performance appraisal folder here. When you click on it, you're going to see the 2 documents here. So let's take a look at the performance rating definitions PowerPoint. So you're going to have different types of ratings. You're going to have outstanding, exceeds expectations, meets expectations, below expectations, and unsatisfactory performance. So unsatisfactory performance is the lowest, then right above there is below expectations, then meets expectations, exceeds expectations, and outstanding is the highest rating you can give someone. Um, so this is something that you need to consider when you are writing your performance evaluation. When you are writing this performance evaluation for him, keep these different factors in mind. The majority of the bullet points, you can see that this person was very good at what they did. They were late to a high-profile meeting. So overall, how would you rate their performance? You can see that for outstanding, it significantly overachieves agreed objectives with quality, quantity, and speed of execution, setting the standards for the others on a consistent basis. So did your direct report set the standards for others on a consistent basis in everything he did? Exceeds expectations. Exceeds agreed objectives and usually surpasses the quality, quantity, and speed of execution. Some aspects of this performance have been example for others to model. Meets expectations. Does your direct report achieve agreed objectives with quality, quantity of work, and speed on a consistent basis, and on occasion may surpass agreed goals and timetables? If so, this is where you would rate him. So I want you to make sure that you put your rating in your memo report of where you feel your direct report this person will be. You need to make sure that you write about whether this person is outstanding, exceeds expectations, meets expectations, are below expectations, unsatisfactory performance, and provide reasoning in detail using the bullet points that are provided in the overall in the bullet points of the overall case. So if the person is outstanding, focus your discussion on how did the associate significantly overachieve objectives? Which performance dimensions were exemplary? Were all of them outstanding? If exceeds, focus on these details. If below expectations, focus on these. If unsatisfactory, focus on these. Oh, and of course, if meets expectations, focus on these discussions as well. So whichever one you decide to go with, this is how I want you to focus it on. So think of this kind of as more of a practice for business writing. Remember, your business writing needs to be concise. It needs to be to the point. You need to consider your audiences for this direct report. For this memo report. You're going to be having your direct report reading this, HR department, and your boss reading this. So if you think about this, these are people who work in your office. They have a good understanding on how the company operates. So you can stay away from explanations about the company itself. If you're giving reasoning for this person is outstanding because our company prides ourselves on people who can perform an outstanding task on certain situations, you don't want to write about that. That sounds like jargon because all of your audience members who are going to be reading this understand the company and they understand the job description. So you can stay away from beating around the bush to help support your reasoning. Rather, if you think this person is outstanding, right? This direct report is outstanding because of these reasons, X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be. But this is a memo report that you need to write because it is a recommendation that you're doing. Similar to, when you grade someone in your group project, you may have someone who is outstanding and then you may have someone who is unsatisfactory. Well, why is this person outstanding? Why is this person unsatisfactory? So here's a performance rating matrix. This should help you give you a good understanding of what I'm going to be looking for each section on how you rate this person. So this is the performance rating matrix. So quantity and quality of output, timeliness of delivery, use of resources, customer impact, freedom from unplanned support, team unit contribution. So is this person outstanding in all of these items? Maybe in one of them there exceeds expectations, maybe in two of them there exceeds expectations. Maybe to you it's something where they meet expectation. Well, if they have everything that they are outstanding at and exceeds expectations, but one is unsatisfactory, where would you put them on the overall matrix? So that's something you need to consider. Let's go back to the actual memo, to the performance review assignment. So take a look at these different items and try to figure out, well, is everything outstanding? Is maybe two things unsatisfactory? This is something that you need to come up with on your own. Now, your answers won't be right or wrong, but they'll be right depending on how you support your answers, or wrong with how you don't support your answers. And again, for your memo, these are some. This is a suggestion on how you can um, write your memo. So let's go ahead and take a look at a new Microsoft Word document. So if you're writing to, from, date, subject, your first paragraph is an introduction about the memo report. You can discuss things on what you're going to be discussing in this memo report. It's almost like an abstract part of an APA research report. So let's just go ahead and fill this with some text to give it the look of a paragraph. So maybe in your first section here, you want to talk about strengths. So we'll put whoops. Sometimes I misspell words myself too. And now you want to talk about challenges. Maybe some of the challenges that the direct report has faced. And then in your final paragraph, you can discuss the overall performance. And this paragraph can discuss the overall performance, your recommendation of a raise, and how much the raise should be. So your memo might look something like this. You would put to your name here, the date that you write this, and of course a catchy subject line. Now, your memo report doesn't have to look exactly like this. You can change these paragraphs in any and which way you feel is necessary. You know, maybe you want to combine strengths and challenges. And then maybe here you would put overall performance. And then here you can do maybe just your recommendation. So you can see in your memo, please format it in a way that you feel is correct. Now, either of these, which I had before, this format or even this format right here, they're both correct. They would both work as long as you write what you need to write about and give your reasoning behind it. So what I want to do now is I want to remind you of your Chick-fil-A case that you need to complete for next week. Please come into class prepared, having read it. And remember, if you scroll back up here to week 2, I have the documents under here for your case analysis shred and your 5-step case analysis. And when you click on both of these documents, it will help you really prepare for your case analysis. So in addition to reading the Starbucks case analysis, or excuse me, excuse me, the Starbucks case out of your casebook, that will help That will help you prepare for writing the case analysis for Starbucks. But remember, the Starbucks case analysis you're writing down here in week 5. This is only practice with the Starbucks case analysis practice folder. But let's go ahead and take a look at these documents here. So for the Chick-fil-A case, you're going to define the case problem. Who is the decision maker? Include the title and company. What is the underlying problem? And give a little background about the case, some context, and the decision maker's goal in solving the problem. Because I am your reader, think of you educating me about this case, giving me an idea of what the case is about and what the underlying issue is. You also need to discuss why he or she needs to address this now and what would happen if it is not addressed now. So once you read the Chick-fil-A case and you figure out what the issue is, why does this issue need to be addressed now? And if it isn't addressed now, what will the problem turn into? And when does he or she need to address it? What kind of sense of urgency do you have into it? Step 2, I want you to consider facts and underlying assumptions. So remember, you can discuss this Chick-fil-A case in good detail as long as you provide the facts and underlying assumptions in this case. I want you to list significant facts and events. Disregard irrelevant information that I don't need to know about in order to make a decision on this case analysis. Remember, a case analysis is something that you're going to be writing to give me a recommendation on what I need to do to fix the problem. So let's scroll down here to the formatting. So this is what the formatting is going to look like. It's going to be in a memo format. Let's get rid of this real quick to give you an idea. So you have your date, to, from, and subject. Then you're going to discuss your problem statement here. This problem statement is going to be about a paragraph long. This problem statement is going to include everything that we discussed above right here. Define the case problem. What is a problem statement? Write the problem statement in 3 to 5 sentences. That is what you're going to do here. Then you're going to write the purpose and objective. And the purpose and objective of why this needs to be done. What is the sense of urgency in this case? When does it need to be done by? What will happen if it's not done? Then what I want you to do is I want you to provide 2 solutions. You're not going to have them listed like this, pros and cons, but they'll be in a paragraph. So solution number 1, you're going to write it here. Solution number 2, you're going to write it here. And then I want you to give your recommended solution. The reason I ask for 2 solutions is that way it gives the reader an understanding of 2 different routes that you can go. Because the whole point of the case study analysis is for someone to read it, understand what the problem is, what your 2 solutions are to fix the problem, and which recommended solution we need to implement. So remember, your problem statement, this will be a paragraph. Actually should be about, you know what, let's go ahead and take this 3 to 5 sentences. So this is really just to kind of show you the formatting of what it will look like. Then the purpose and objective. Again, this will be anywhere from 2 to 4 sentences. It's a little bit shorter because it gives me a good purpose and objective. Remember, an objective should be a little shorter. That way I understand what it is that we need to do. Then your alternative solutions. this should be 3 to 4 sentences. It could be 5, but you'd probably want to keep it a little bit shorter. And then you have solution 2, which this should be about 3 to 4 sentences as well. And then your recommended solution, you're going to discuss which one you would move forward with and why. Discuss which solution and why. And this should be anywhere from 3 to 4 sentences as well. And then, of course, the action steps, which this should be about 3 to 4 sentences as well. So this is what your, let's go to, so this is what your memo is going to look like. Something along these lines. We'll go ahead and put it to 11 font because that is acceptable. So it'll look something like this in memo format. And once you begin after your memo format, you're going to have your problem statement, your purpose objective, your alternative solutions, which solution 1 and solution 2 you're going to write about, your recommended solution, discuss your solution you chose and why, and the action steps. So after you read the case for Chick-fil-A, please come prepared into class to write about this case. I'm going to give you a prompt looking for exactly what the case study discusses, but I'm going to have some things in the prompt that you're going to have to include in this actual case study. This way, I know that you're writing it in class and you have an idea of how to implement the facts from Chick-fil-A into the case that, into the facts that I provide for you for the case. So when you come into class during week 5, the first 15 minutes you're going to meet with your group, and then the next hour you're going to write your case analysis on Chick-fil-A. And I'm going to go ahead and pass out a prompt, and the prompt will be on that Chick-fil-A case, and it will ask you to do a couple things, which includes this entire case study right here in a memo format. So this is what I'm going to be looking for when we meet in class on Friday, September 20th, or excuse me, September 22nd. So please be prepared to write this in class when we meet on Friday, September 22nd. So finally, please make sure to take a look at our group list for your class. If you are in Section 9, it will say BUAD 301-09. If you are in Section 12, it will say BUAD 301-12. Make sure to open up this document, see who is in your group, and see what group number you are in. And when you come into our next live class, I will go ahead and have each of the tables labeled for which group will sit where, and you will go ahead and meet your group and exchange contact information and go from there. So good luck to you all this week. Please remember, for all your reminders here, make sure to come to class next week prepared, having read chapter 6. Read and familiarize yourself with the Chick-fil-A case in your casebook. Complete the Research City project requirement number 1 memo. Remember, that is going to be due at the end of this week. All the files and attachments for this one are under week number 3, so if you scroll up to week 3, you'll see it here. And remember, we have a mandatory live class meeting next week during week 5 on Saturday, February 17th. Please make sure to look at your syllabus for time and location. Again, make sure to be on time during the first 15 minutes of class. You're going to sit with your assigned groups, meet each other, and exchange contact information. So good luck to you all. See you next week.